This episode of Taste of the Valley is brought to you by the Fresno chapter of the California Restaurant Association. Welcome to Taste of the Valley. I'm your host, Andreas Borges, and in this episode we are showcasing some of the highlights from our travels in the region and also some fun clips from previous episodes. Thanks for watching as we experience Taste of the Valley. Valley Lavash Baking Company in Armenia Town off of Ventura, and I'm joined by co-host for this segment and the owner of Valley Lavash Baking Company, Agnes Agatelian.
Hi.
Agnes, thank you so much for inviting us over to your bakery and giving us a tour.
Sure, pleasure.
So you're known for one thing especially, and that's lavash.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about what lavash is.
The lavash is a thin, crisp, cracker-type bread. It's a very traditional Armenian bread. It is an unleavened bread, which means it goes straight from the mixing process straight to the oven.
So unleavened meaning there's no yeast.
There is a little bit of yeast, but there's no rest and rise.
I see.
So it goes straight from the mixer, straight to the oven in the baking process.
Very thin.
Very thin. Thin, crisp, and bubbly.
Thin, crisp, and bubbly.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Now, your facilities here are quite large.
Yes, we actually take up the entire block. So our plant goes from Santa Clara all the way up to Ventura. This is where the whole process starts. All of the ingredients get put into the mixer: flour, sugar, yeast, water. Then the lid goes up, the dough gets mixed, and then it gets dropped down onto this metal table, and then they take off the chunks and then begin the baking process. The shape that we're making now is our large traditional 15-inch size. Make a lot of different shapes and sizes that have become much more mainstream. We're actually known for our heart-shaped lavash.
I had that yesterday, as a matter of fact.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. That was my mother's creation. She loves anything and everything in the shape of a heart. So when she became president, she decided to make a heart-shaped cracker, and now it's our #1 retail seller.
Now, is that salt or sesame being dropped onto?
Yes, those are sesame seeds that are being sprinkled on before it actually goes into the oven.
That's amazing. So it just keeps on going into the oven. So now, the oven right here continues on.
Yes.
Wow, look how long this oven is.
It's an 80-foot oven.
80-foot oven.
Yeah.
And all right, what temperature are we looking at? Because it's warm in here.
It's very hot in here, and you know the temperature is set at various degrees throughout the oven to maintain consistency throughout the product. So it gets very, very hot in the summertime. But we keep the doors closed, try and keep it insulated as best we can to get the best baking we can. Here you can actually see, this is where you can see that the bread starts to initially bake.
Wow.
It sits right on the oven band, and the flames come from underneath, and you can see it starting to bubble. It's actually a very fast process.
Now there's flames on the bottom and top.
There are flames both, so it's
Yeah.
getting cooked all around, and
Both
it sits
sides.
on the metal band, yes. So you can see it, the bubbles are starting to come up, and then by the time it gets down just a couple more feet, it's almost completely baked.
What else is made here on the premises?
We make a wonderful loaf-type bread called pita, which is spelled P-E-D-A, and that was the bread that my grandfather formulated when he came to this country to commemorate his coming to America.
So you have the pita and you have the lavash,
Yes.
and of course you have the heart-shaped lavash that you told us about earlier.
Right.
And if folks want to buy this, where can they go? Where can they come and buy the lavash
Well,
here?
you know, we sell it through our retail store here, which is on the corner of M and Santa Clara, and then we sell to stores like Save Mart and the Market. So various grocery store chains carry it here locally, as well as, we sell it nationwide.
The bakery is something very special here in the valley. Can you tell us why it's so special?
You know, it's been here since 1922, and, when people talk about Old Armenian Town, it was the bakery and the church, and that made up Old Armenian Town. And it's wonderful that both of those two things are still here. So many Armenians in town grew up coming to the bakery. We've got generations of families that still come to the bakery. So it's really a mainstay of the Central Valley, especially downtown.
Well, Agnes, thank you very much for taking us through the baking process and the cooking, and allowing me to have a taste at the end. Visit us online at tasteofthevalley.tv. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. We're here at the award-winning Q&A for You in Old Town Clovis, and joined by owner Brent Walton. It's a pleasure. Thanks so much for allowing us to come over and do some barbecuing.
Well, I always like to have my friends here, rain or shine, to barbecue.
We're looking at 4 gorgeous pieces of meat here. And what is this? This is brisket?
This is the brisket. It's the pork butts or pork shoulders, tri-tip, and the spare ribs.
All right, so in terms of anatomy, where's the brisket from?
The brisket's from the chest of the cow. It's the worst piece on the cow, too.
Real tough?
It's very tough. If it's not cooked correctly, it's impossible to eat. You'd rather eat the hoofs.
Before we get to the seasoning part, maybe we could sort of talk about what exactly is barbecue as opposed to grilling.
Barbecue is low and slow. When you talk about barbecue, it's low and slow. What we do in California is really grilling, which is like on the grill, 350 degrees and higher, direct heat. Barbecue is always indirect heat, low and slow, smoke's involved, woods are involved to bring out flavors. And what it is it's a way to cook these meats that aren't very good. They take a long time to break down all the collagens and do things to them. Like I said, this piece of meat is horrible. Cooked correctly, it's more tender than a filet.
Wow.
But otherwise, you undercook it just a little bit, you can't eat it. You overcook it a little bit, it falls apart. It's so dry, it's like eating sand. So it just has one window that it's good in.
All right, so we're looking at brisket right here. In terms of preparing this to put on the barbecue, what do you normally do?
Briskets don't take a whole lot. You can try to trim them and all that, but when you're cooking these things for 12 to 14 hours, this fat melts away. Okay, so I don't spend a lot of time doing any of that. The magic's in the barbecue rubs.
Now, is this your rub?
This is my rub, and this is really in barbecue they talk about rubs. This is the magic, or the Memphis barbecue, all rubs, no sauces. This is what they're talking about, is using these rubs. And I developed these rubs specifically for certain things, as I did on the barbecue circuit. You know, in competitions, you want certain flavors you're trying to enhance, and really it's all about enhancing the meat, not covering the flavor.
What's in the rub?
The main ingredient usually, and what I suggest to people who want to make their own, salt and pepper is the main thing.
Good old-fashioned salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper is the base, and it's the best thing.
This
Other
is
things that
seasoned
could
salt?
be added. This is, I've got chili powder in there. I've got paprika in there, mostly for color, because I want that red color. Garlic's in there. I have a little bit of cumin in this one.
Now, do you rub both sides or only one?
I usually only do one, because I'm gonna put this in the smoker. It's gonna sit on this fat side, and this fat eventually comes off.
Well, let's
We're not
put
gonna
it
ever
in.
serve it, so let's get it ready
Now,
to go.
all right, but look at this behemoth. What are we looking at?
This is my mistress.
Does your wife know about her?
She does. Takes about 12 to 14 hours.
Wow.
And before it hits the window where it's just right. And it just has a few minutes in that window, so you've got to pull this when it's correct. This is a brisket after it cooks, and it looks like a meteor. This is the way it's supposed to look, too.
So it's not burnt.
No.
That's
and,
just
and a lot
smoked.
of people will re-season this. They'll take the rub and put it on here again, and then just eat it that way. This is the burnt ends. This is what people want. They want to just taste this. So I'm going to show you how this is. Now, I told you this would be the toughest piece of meat on a cow, by far. There's nothing like it. But when you cook it correctly,
Wow. Unbelievable. It was just falling apart.
yeah. So this is what's fat up here.
So, same is true with the brisket, the smoke ring.
Yeah. They look for the smoke rings.
So this is actually one of the choicer. You definitely want to have it on the outside, the crisp end of it.
Yeah, yeah, they want that's the burnt ends. And some people come in the restaurant, this is all they want. They just want this crispiness of the outside.
This is great.
Here, now try that with that. Now that's meant to enhance that. That's what the whole thing's about.
I'm getting evil looks. I can feel them from the crew over here. Eat your heart out, guys.
There's a lot of fat in the brisket, and we cut most of it out when we go to serve it, but I try to keep it on there as long as possible because it's nothing but flavor.
It's amazing that something that was always considered sort of the poor man's portion of the cow is turned into something as succulent as this.
That's how barbecue came about. It is the pork cut. It's the worst cut. On these ranchers and guys, they weren't going to give the cowboys out there work and the good stuff, so they would throw them the worst piece of meat and say, here, this is yours. Here's the ribs. They're lousy. But they developed these ways to cook them, and now, you know, we've got these amazing foods that were developed by these people, and barbecues out of the worst pieces of meat. That was the whole point of it.
Would you say this is about? Would you say this is an American tradition?
This
I
is
think
American.
Everybody cooks meat on the grill, but this is uniquely American.
Exactly. This is uniquely American.
After the break, we'll be talking more with Don Anderson from Full Circle Brewing Company. So we're back here with Don Anderson of Full Circle Brewing Company in downtown Fresno. Don, thanks so much for showing us around your facilities in your beer making process. Maybe we can learn a little bit more about you and how you got started in the beer making industry.
Well, sure. I started as a hobby back in about 1983, I guess. I was participating in Renaissance fairs. And
in jousting and
yeah, jousting and all that stuff was going on. But my interest was the historical aspect of it, and I got involved with the cuisine and beverages of the period. And one thing led to another, and I started making beer.
So is that like mead? Was that common back in those days?
Oh, absolutely. A different beverage than beer, but mead was one of the things that was. They consider mead to maybe be the very first alcoholic beverage. And
really?
I think there might be some validity to that just because of the fact that it could naturally occur. If old beehive got smashed and was exposed to the atmosphere and it rained and got water on it, then as soon as that honey was diluted, then it could ferment. And then that fermentation would make alcohol, and somebody stumbled across that and hey, it'd be really good.
So interesting. Now, you're located near Chinatown in downtown Fresno.
Right.
Chinatown's just right up the street.
Yes.
And this is not the first beer hall that Chinatown has had. There was an earlier version that we saw in Pop Laval pictures.
Right.
Of
the
beer.
Feretta's Beer Garden, I believe it was called, and it was down F Street here a little ways, on the other side of Kern. Down by what was called the Holly Department Store down there. And it was an outdoor facility. And we saw those photos and thought, boy, we should move down there to Chinatown and open up a brewery. Be careful what you think about.
So you were in Clovis before.
Yeah, I was working for the city of Clovis. I worked on the water wells over there for a number of years.
Waterwell's beer. I mean, I see the connection.
Water to wine, water to beer,
Very biblical of you.
But no, we love it here. We came down here, we started looking around because of our finding about the beer garden down there and everything. We went down there and looked at that location, and then we found this place. And when the fellow that showed me the building rolled up the front door and I looked inside and I saw this, my first thought was, oh, this is perfect. I'll never be able to afford it. But I told the guy, what I had in mind, what I wanted to do. He got very excited about it, thought it was great, and bent over backwards to help us accomplish this.
That's fantastic. This used to be a
the
former
garage for the
post office. What a perfect place for a beer hall. So we had an historical beer hall over in Chinatown decades ago that was memorialized by Pop Laval, and now we have this over here. People want a piece of history. They want a place to entertain. They want to come over to Full Circle Brewery. Now, how do they take the beer to go?
Well, currently we're not bottling any beer. We don't have any beer out in the marketplace. The only way to get the beer is come here, drink it over the bar, or we have this convenient half-gallon jug we call the growler.
And so, can anyone buy your beer anywhere else but Full Circle Brewing Company over off of Ventura?
No, it's only available here.
But they can take it home.
You can take it home. You can get a half a gallon to go and bring the jug back for refills as many times as you'd like to.
That's great.
And we package the beer as well as our homemade root beer in there.
Homemade root beer as well. Well, tell us. The viewers are going to want to know what makes Full Circle Brewing Company uniquely Fresno. Where do you get your products from, and do you make it all here?
Well, yes, everything we produce is made here. Everything we serve here, we produce. All of our fruits and honey and all of the ingredients that we can get from the local market, we do. The hops and the grain. all come from the Pacific Northwest.
This is truly a Fresno establishment. And we're excited that you're here. We're excited that you've got fantastic beer. We've seen quite an assortment and tasted quite an assortment earlier on. And for folks that want to be part of the revitalization effort, it's as simple as having a beer at Full Circle Brewery.
Sure. Come on down.
Don, thanks so much for your time.
Andreas,
it's been a wonderful
pleasure.
experience.
Thanks very much for coming in.
Cheers. Stay tuned. We'll hear from some customers right after the break. For sponsorship opportunities, please visit tasteofthevalley.tv. Well, we're in the belly of Queuing for You, back with Brent, and we are making the notorious, infamous Queuing for You barbecue sauce.
It is.
All right, how do you make it?
Well, I can't tell you everything,
All right.
so I'm going to give you the generic version. So they start with ketchup.
Starting with ketchup.
Probably the most universal ingredient. Brown sugar, it's a half cup. Honey. Barbecue sauces need lots of sweetness. Plain white vinegar.
Plain white vinegar.
And then the Worcestershire sauce. And then I like to add a little butter. It gives it a nice creamy richness. Mouthfeel is really good. So I put in like a quarter of a stick. Sounds like a lot, but the important thing in making your own barbecue sauce, it's got to be cooked. I don't bring it all the way up to a boil. I want it to about 170 degrees. Mm-hmm. Just want to make sure any bacteria or anything like that can be killed in there. But that's it, and that will be the magic touch. Now, the things you do to this extra, fruit juices are a good item to put in. Just about anything you like. Different spices, you can put garlic in there, whatever you like, and however flavor trend you want.
That's
Any of that stuff, that's where you really want to take it and flavor it and make it your own.
Well, we're here with the Martinez family, Roy, Lynn, Alex, and Destiny over at Queuing for You. Now, what did everyone get? What did you get, Lynn?
I have the chicken Caesar salad.
Chicken Caesar salad. And Destiny, what did you get?
Chicken and fries.
Chicken and fries. And Alexander, what did you get? It looks like macaroni and cheese, doesn't it, Roy?
Macaroni and cheese
And pulled pork. How about you, Roy?
Brisket sandwich.
Oh, it looks fantastic. But I got to ask, what is this in the center? It's called pig candy? What is pig candy?
It's Little Smokies wrapped in bacon with maple and brown sugar, I believe.
That just sounds illegal.
It's very good.
We've got to try one of those.
Yes.
How about you, Destiny? You want to try the pig candy? It's good, isn't it? It's got brown sugar. It's good. I mean, you never think bacon and hot dog. Good stuff. So now the Martinez family comes here quite a bit, don't you?
Yes, sir.
And are you Clovis residents?
Yes,
But I mean, Queuing for You is known throughout the area as having some great barbecue.
it does. It is the best. That's why we come.
And you always get the chicken Caesar, or
I get the chicken Caesar a lot, but I really like the hot sandy. I really like the burgers. Very good.
What do you like to get also?
The hot sandy also, it's like turkey on a Texas sized toast. And the burgers are really good.
And I mean, it's obviously a family-oriented place.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
You bring Destiny and Alexander over, so well, listen, enjoy, and I'm going to come back later for one of those pig candies.
We'll
Don't
save
eat them
some.
all, Destiny, all right? So I'm going to be joining the Navoni family. How are you?
Good, how are you?
It's Janie,
Janie.
Andreas,
Nice to meet
and
you.
Joe.
Joe.
Pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
What do we get today?
The Texas Tommy.
Texas Tommy.
Yep. A hot dog wrapped in bacon, stuffed with jalapeno and cheese, and deep fried.
I'm sorry, you rewind. It's a hot dog
Correct.
stuffed with peppers and cheese, wrapped in bacon and
then deep fried. Yes. That's the most outrageous hot dog there is.
And we have some interesting looking. Those aren't regular French fries.
No, those
What
are sweet potato French fries.
sweet potato French fries. Nice. And Jenny, what do we have over here?
We have the hot sandy. It's turkey on sourdough with 3 cheeses, bacon, tomato, and basil on top.
It looks good.
Oh, it's delicious and the best potato salad in the valley. You cannot find better potato salad.
So would you say that you're regulars at Queuing for You?
Yes, we are, and have been for the last 2 years.
Well, now this place opened up about 2 years ago, was it? And just looking around, I mean, this screams barbecue joint. Well, apparently this used to be a pizza parlor, and then a Chinese restaurant.
That's right. It's
then
several different things.
Then a roadhouse.
Right.
But it finally found itself.
That's
this
right.
is definitely
this
barbecue
is definitely
joint.
barbecue.
Wow. Well, enjoy, and no doubt the stuff looks good.
Oh, it's delicious.
All right. Well, Brent, that was mighty tasty.
I appreciate it.
Today's been fantastic. We were able to make brisket, pork shoulder, tri-tip, ribs, and got to taste all of it.
You finally got to taste real barbecue.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. What would you like our viewers to know about Q&A for you?
Well, what I'd like them to know is that we are really making real barbecue here. We're the real deal, and we're unique. It's not like a normal restaurant here. We make everything by hand. We do it with passion like nobody else, and I want them to come try us. They'll see.
Well, there you have it, folks. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Taste of the Valley. And remember, every dish has its story. Until next time. This episode of Taste of the Valley is brought to you by the Fresno chapter of the California Restaurant Association.